Good morning. Welcome to AI Insights. I am Dragos Tudorache. I'm a member of Renew political group in the European Parliament and the chair of the newly established Special Committee on Artificial Intelligence in the Digital Age. I'm very happy to organize and co-host this event today with RELX and with Elizabeth Crossick, who will be co-hosting the event throughout the morning with me. I also like to thank from the outset my colleagues, Eva Maydell and Eva Kaili, MEPs from the EPP political group and from the Socialists and Democrats political group, for graciously also agreeing to co-host the two panels that we're going to have today. Today is about insights. So we try to go beyond the political rhetoric a bit that we sometimes hear these days about artificial intelligence, beyond the larger slogans about the strategic uses and the strategic directions of artificial intelligence in Europe or the world. And we try to understand a bit more of the practical, about the sectoral implications and applications of AI into very intriguing areas such as fraud, such as financial crime, such as health, and very importantly, rule of law. Why it is important to go that deep? It is important because only understanding what are the implications at a very granular level, we can then see and go into the discussion about how we better regulate, what we need to regulate, how we need to regulate, where and to what extent. There is, however, one common political thread that I would like to put on the table, which will hopefully lead to some questions that would be applicable to any of the panels and the discussions that we're going to have today. AI is ultimately still and only a technology. And like any technology, it is agnostic at the end of the day. It is not how much about what it is capable to do, but how much we as humans who are designing it and operating it, how much we are allowing it to do, and the directions in which we are leading it. And this goes into the good uses of AI, just like we talk about the good uses of any technology, or the bad uses of AI. And how can we as regulators, how can we as business leaders, as businesses developing and getting involved into the growing of this technology, what do we need to do to make sure that AI as a technology remains there to serve us, to do good, to grow the potentials of us as humans, as societies, and as economies? So this was the one, let's say, more political, although I promised that we go beyond the politics today. But it is the one issue that I wanted to put on the table from the outset, because again, from these, we deduct all of the questions that I know we usually have whenever we hear about AI and whenever we talk these days about AI. Again, how are we going to regulate it? To what extent? Which sectors do we regulate and which sectors we don't regulate? So hopefully, some of these questions, at least for the four sectors that we're going to discuss today, will be answered, and hopefully you will get the chance, the opportunity, I'm hoping, to ask some of the questions and put some of the concerns that you have to our very good experts we have in the panels today, as well as to my colleagues, Eva Maydell, Eva Kaili, who will be co-hosting the panels and who have themselves the best expertise that we have in European Parliament on this very important topic, AI. With that, I thank you again. I welcome you to today's event, and I would like to hand over to Elizabeth Crossick, the co-host, thanking her again and thanking RELX again for helping me out with the organization of today's event. Elizabeth?
Good morning and thank you, and actually can I thank you as well for hosting our events, and also congratulate you on your recent appointment as chair of the new AI committee. We're very much looking forward to it being operational, and actually I couldn't agree with you more when you talk about AI being a technology. We have to remember that indeed it's agnostic, and I hope we will show you today some of the ways in which we are using it to serve us, the people. Thank you also to Eva Maydell and Eva Kylie for participating. It's a very important topic, and we're very glad to have you all involved. And as some of you may recall, we should have had the event organised in the European Parliament back in March, but because of the pandemic, we had to cancel. So thank you to technology for allowing us to do this, and in quite an easy way. Before we start, I'd just like to take this opportunity to say a few words about RELX and why AI is important to us. So RELX is a data analytics company. It's created in Europe, rooted in Europe, operating globally. I know many of you are familiar with our name, but maybe less what we do. So did you know, for example, it's our fraud detection software that's used when we open new accounts in many of our most popular commercial digital commerce sites, so Netflix, Uber. If you own a car, it could be our data that helps you get the best insurance deal. And if you have medication, that may well have been developed using research published by us. And what links these things is the combination of data and content with cutting-edge technology. And as Dragos mentioned, we operate in 4 market segments: risk and business analytics, legal, exhibitions, and scientific, technical, and medical STMJ. And in all of these, we're increasingly applying AI. I believe there's no better moment to discuss this topic, given that the Commission is set to unveil new rules for AI systems in early 2021, and the EP itself has a number already of own initiative reports, and now we hear about this new committee that's also been set up. So you'll hear today from our 3 eminent MEPs on this topic, and 4 of my colleagues who will put AI into the context of anti-money laundering, digital identities, healthcare, and rule of law. Just a couple of housekeeping points, if I may. The webinar is being recorded. We are also being joined by several members of press, so welcome. And we are going to have time for a few questions once you've heard the presentation. So we're doing them in segments of 2. But during their presentations, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A and we will select some for response. Please don't put them in the chat channel, and then we can all see what the questions are.